Zipper rolls out to the right, pitches off to Taylor, and Taylor's to the 20, down to the 15, down to 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Billy Taylor scored a touchdown from 21 yards out. The crowd goes berserk. It was November 22nd, 1969. That they came to Barry, Michigan, all dressed in maize and blue. The words were said, the prayers were read, and everybody cried. But when they closed the coffin, there was someone else inside. Oh, they came to Barry, Michigan, but Michigan wasn't dead. And when the game was over, it was someone else instead. 11 Michigan Wolverines put on the gloves of gray, and as the organ played the victors, they laid Woody Hayes away. Under center is Wangler at the 45. He goes back. He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield to Carter. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast. Go Blue, and welcome to our game day show for Wisconsin. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Our guest today will be beat writer Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press. We'll also hear a few thoughts from Badgers head coach Luke Fickell. But first, let's get it rolling with my view from Section 17. It's always interesting to see how a team responds after a bye week. Did they make adjustments, improvements, and get players healthy? We need to do all those things with a tough slate of games in October. One thing I can say for certain, this team has not yet scratched the surface of what they could be. Bryce is just getting his feet wet. The running game is taking shape, in large part because the offensive line looks to be getting better each week. That will have to continue. I'm interested to see who steps up and starts making some catches in our wideout group, and if we can get Marlon Klein and Hogan Hansen healthy and both contributing. I'm also a believer in Wink and how he tinkers early season to find what works best for his defense, and will make them even better as each week rolls by. This is a young team, so while we hope they make strides each week, we have to see it. This week, a struggling Wisconsin team visits the Big House, and their head coach is under fire at home for a less than stellar start to the season. On paper, this looks like a Michigan win. I think it will be. But how does Michigan respond coming off a bye? And is Wisconsin really not a good football team? We don't have the answers. It's why we tee it up and play the games. It's homecoming, and it should be a great atmosphere in the Big House, and the beginning of an important month for Team 146. It should be fun. At his weekly presser, Luke Fickell mentioned that the Michigan defensive front is going to be a challenge for his young offensive line.
Yeah, it is a strength of obviously this week of Michigan. They've done a phenomenal job the last few years defensively. They're as talented as anybody up front, even though they lost 2 first-round draft picks on the interior. There is a definite challenge to those guys up front.
Coach Fickell says the Michigan run game will be the best they've seen so far this season.
It'll be a test. I don't know that we've had, by any means, a test like this in the running game this year. And so we have done a good job up front. We've done a good job at controlling the run and giving ourselves a better opportunities to, obviously to win football games when you can stop the run. But this is definitely going to be a different challenge. I think that is definitely the strength of the offense. At times when you do that, then you also got to realize and recognize that they got opportunities to make big plays in the passing game as well, whether it's the quarterback's feet, the quarterback's arm. They've got talented players on the outside. I think maybe what they don't get as much credit for is the balance that they have. It's maybe overlooked sometimes when they've run the ball as well as they have with the backs that they've got. But it's going to be a different challenge for us defensively, that's for sure, for our ability to eliminate the big play in the run game more so than anything else.
Luke said Bryce Underwood presents a myriad of problems for defenses.
Being a defensive guy in general, the quarterbacks that have the ability to beat you with their arms and their legs are something that always makes it difficult. And even for a younger guy that has a lot of poise, a guy that has some weapons around him, he hasn't overdone it. That's the thing that I would say is impressive. They haven't run him a ton. He hasn't, just taken off and scrambled when something wasn't there. But his ability to pick and choose when he does is obviously, as you saw a week ago for them, were some huge plays in the quarterback run game, whether it was a called cue draw or improvised on on some things that broke down. That's why I said that when we talked about the run game. You can't just say, hey, we're just going to pile the box and stop the run. You do those things, you pile everybody up inside, and Underwood can make you pay on the edges with his feet, as well as being able to get the ball down the field. So there's a balance to it. That's why he obviously was as highly touted as he is. And I think they've done a good job with being smart with what they've asked him to do, but still allowing his abilities to show. So it's another challenge that, I don't think you see every week.
My guest today says he's interested to see what progress Michigan makes coming out of the bye. Joining us next is beat writer Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press. So stay with us. Joining us on our game day show as we get ready for the big homecoming game with Wisconsin on Saturday is beat writer Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press. Good to have you back again, Tony.
Yeah, always good to be on, Mike. Thanks.
Well, Tony, Michigan coming off a bye week, and it was probably at a good time because there were quite a few guys that were working through injuries. And according to Sharon at his Monday presser, it sounds like we'll start seeing some of them back, if not this Saturday, very soon, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty much key number one of this bye week was getting guys back. It's sort of twofold. It's also, they call it opportunity week, which gives the guys a chance who are trying to push up that depth chart, but just not quite getting the same reps, gives them a chance to show out, but also it's giving the guys who are dinged and banged and bruised a chance to get with Justin Trest, to get with Abigail O'Connor, the strength and nutrition staff, and just really do some rest and rehab. And yeah, sounds like Gio Hadi trending, Brady Norton trending, Rod Moore, great time for him. Obviously, he came back. He was kind of on a snap count when he returned. But just to give his body a full week rest after that comeback will help him continue to reintegrate in the lineup. Zeke Berry, questionable, I'd say, but they should be in better shape than they were against Nebraska.
Well, I know it's just before we started taping, you were at the midweek presser with Wink Martindale and Steve Kasula. Anything interesting come out of that? Yeah,
always, just a chance because we all the assistant coaches rotate, so it feels like it's been about a month since we talked to both of them. I'll start with who we talked with first. Steve Kasula was, quite honest. And it's not that he kept saying, he's like, look, I'm not trying to bag on my guys or anything like that. I'm pleased with where we're at, but it feels like now is the chance for his room, the tight end room, to take the next step. Think about what they've had to go through, replacing Colston Loveland, arguably the best tight end, in modern Michigan history. Then you've got Marlon Klein, who popped week one, and then he's banged up with an ankle. Hogan, he comes back, then he goes down with another injury. So they're trying to get him back. But when the two of them are on the field, it's been, they're quite productive, and it just limits so much what the defense is going to have to think. It creates more controversy for what they're going to think Michigan's going to do. But Michigan can run or pass with both of them on the field, either one or both. And then Wink Martindale just assessing his defense. Nothing overwhelming, really stands out from what Wink said. At least, like we said, we just got out of there about 5-10 minutes ago, so I got to listen back to it all to see if there's anything I'm really forgetting. But, Max Bredesen last night, Tuesday night, said Michigan feels sort of like an airplane that's getting ready to take off. And Wink did agree with that assessment. I mean, it's very high and effusive in his praise. I would say of everybody, the most, and deservedly so, would be Cole Sullivan. He talking about the young cornerbacks who are doing their job. The edges, Jay Sean Barham, of course, who's just been a one-man wrecking crew. And sort of, all across the board, they've had different people playing well in different spots. And, clearly the defense has, I would say still, as per usual, has been the strength of this team.
That we knew going into the bye week. There were a lot of things we learned in the first 4 games, and there are a lot of areas of improvement, which is just fine after 4 games. I think one of the things we learned, and it sounds like from his Monday night radio show, Sharon is in the same boat with this, is that moving forward, Bryce Underwood has to use his legs because it changes how defenses play this Michigan team, doesn't it?
There's no doubt about it. It feels like that's always the case. Every team wants their quarterback to be mobile, and then whenever you're going against a mobile quarterback, it's like, oh man, now just another thing we need to account for. Really, the only rushing touchdowns Michigan has given up this year are two to John Mateer, a rushing quarterback, right? And so it changes the count, it changes the gap fits, it changes the scheme. That there's something that Kusula has alluded to, and it's sort of a long known term. It's kind of like a 12th man. When you got a guy who can pass and run, and not just run on design runs, but extend plays and then use his physicality and just natural athletic ability to make plays, it makes things very hard on the defense. It limits what you can call. There has to be less man coverage. If everybody is in man coverage and your back is turned, a quarterback can be running 20, 25 yards down the field. And if the receivers are doing their job and continuing their routes, extending them upfield, acting as if the play is still going, it can be quite a while before anybody realizes that the quarterback has left the pocket. And so little things like that, you got to have a spy more often. Michigan, if they're going to get, where they hope to get this season, Bryce Underwood has to be a major factor with that. And as good as he is with his arm, and he's very good, he needs both in order to be truly dynamic. Through 4 weeks, only 2 passing touchdowns. Part of that is on pass blocking. Part of that is on, there's been quite a few drops, 11, second most in the Big Ten. And so he's got to keep doing it with his legs.
Yeah, he does. And as you said, he's a 12th man, and that changes the way defenses are set up and play. And that benefits a guy named Justice Haynes because he's going to have more room to run. And what we've learned so far is he's a special kind of guy who doesn't need much room to get going, does he?
No, lightning in a bottle, that guy, for sure. Even before Bryce was running and the run game was pretty stagnant through a couple weeks. Against New Mexico, had to run 56, had to run 59. Against Oklahoma, had to run a 75, and that's when the run game was struggling. Then this last week got another one. This last game, I should say. Obviously, they were on a bye last week. Another 75-yarder against Nebraska. He had something 60, 70 yards. Because it didn't count and it was called back with a holding. I don't remember the exact distance, but he's tied for the nation lead with 4+ rushes of 50 yards or more. It feels like as soon as he gets through that first level, if he's at the second level, it just feels like it's going to go. There have not been a lot of defensive backs or even linebackers who, unless they're filling their hole in 3-5 yards within the line of scrimmage, nobody's taken an angle to catch him. He was clocked at one of the 5 fastest times. Like 21.6 miles an hour for in-game speed through the first month of the college football season. He's electric. Michigan thought he would be. But it's always hard to know because you're so infrequently going live in practice. It's maybe like a wrap up or a thump, like you are not tackling and you're not finishing those plays. So it kind of looks like it's like, man, I don't think anybody would have caught him there, but we blew the whistle dead 10 yards upfield. So hard to know. Now they know. He is very tough to catch.
Well, I like Bredesen's analogy that Michigan is like a plane getting ready to take off. And there are so many things that go into that. And one of them is the wide receiver group. As much as Bryce is improving in all aspects of his game, his receivers really need to step it up and hang on to more balls. I'm not sure what you do about that, But as a group, they've been, disappointing in that regard so far, haven't they?
No, they have. And unfortunately, I'm not terribly surprised. Really all they did to change this room was add Donovan McCulley.
Yeah.
And he's obviously been their most consistent player. But and you hope for years of growth from guys like Samaj, guys like Channing Goodwin. But then you got someone like Fred Moore, who was in the rotation last year. I think he's played 16 or 18 offensive snaps. He's been targeted once. He has no catches. That's not getting it done. They continue to bang, throughout spring, the Peyton O'Leary drum. It feels like we've all seen that song and dance for 3-4 years now, and it just doesn't feel like he's going to provide much. If there is something to be done to take this to the next level, this passing attack, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's Andrew Marsh, the four-star freshman out of Katy, Texas. He was Michigan's highest wide receiver recruit since Donovan Peoples-Jones in 2017. And so, he has the talent. He got off to a really rough start with the fumble on special teams, with not getting his head around on sort of an out and up route near the front pylon in week 1. And I think that might have zapped a little bit of confidence, but they need somebody who is just a different type of playmaker to get on the field and to contribute. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was him, or if they're really looking for guys, because Samaj and Channing both are tied with the team lead with 4 drops. Maybe it's a guy like Anthony Simpson. He's shifty from UMass, kind of a proven guy at college, certainly not at this level, but it could be worth a shot. But as Michigan coaches say, whoever practices the best is going to play. And if Samaj and Channing are continually, time and time again, the guys who are practicing the best, I think they're just going to keep getting the reps here. But there's no doubt that it is the least potent group on this team is the wide receivers.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, another thing we knew when the season started, if we were being honest, it was that the offensive line was going to take time to gel. It really does every year, even with a veteran group. But we've had some early injuries to deal with, so there's been some shuffling, some for the better. But the move to the more zone blocking seems to have really helped this group, hasn't it?
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah. That
has certainly come to fruition. The amount of outside zone that they've been running this year, and it's also stylistically, that's a sort of a good fit for Justice, just allowing him to have time to to have time to decipher which hole to read, because as soon as he gets through one, he can be gone, and not just having to be. And on an outside zone, there's a designed place number 1, you want to run it, but the cutback lane is also open, and he's got the explosive ability to make that happen. It's helping maybe in a way sort of simplify blocking for the offensive line, which you could think might be counterintuitive. If it's a man, you could think I just have this guy. But when it's a zone, and there is a general area you're running to, you can trust your eyes more instead of maybe getting caught up on a stunt or things of that nature. And so for whatever reason, or maybe these guys just like zone blocking more, sometimes it's hard to tell, but as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Michigan is certainly starting to get its rhythm on the ground, which was something I was a little bit worried about through those first 2 weeks. These last 2 have obviously been a really great sight.
Well, one thing we also knew after the first 4 games is that Wink's defense, right now, they're good. They're not elite yet. But moving Jayshon Barham to the edge and Cole Sullivan, what a light he's been to watch. Get more time, along with Jimmy Rolder at inside linebacker. We've been watching this defense evolve through the first 4 games, haven't we?
No, sure have. And, that's all about, one of Wink's, most classic lines is they are trying to get the best 11 guys on the field. And because this is a multiple D scheme, they can have 4 down linemen, they can have 5 down linemen, they can run a nickel and run 5 defensive backs, or they can run 4 defensive backs. And if their big fellas up front are making more plays, then they'll put more of them on. Or if they're getting home with 4, then they will cheat on the back end and throw a 5th defensive back in there to sort of keep things in front of them. But I think you hit the nail on the head with what has been the key tweak or decision of this defense. It's put Jayshon on the edge, because then that is allowing not just Ernest, but Ernest and Cole or Ernest and Jimmy at that linebacker spot. And Wink was really effusive with his praise for the job that Brian Jean-Marie is doing with that group. Wink, obviously he's been a defensive coordinator for a number of years at a number of stops, but his background is in inside linebacker play. So he says that he's always particularly hard on that group. There's not a lot to be hard on. With this group, every single one of them has been really phenomenal. I would say Sullivan the most of the bunch, but Jay Sean just creating more pressure off the edge in ways that Derek Moore, that TJ Guy, that Dom Nichols, that Cam Brandt just have not been able to do one-on-one. Jay Sean is, and that's really unlocked this defense, or certainly helped it take a notable step forward.
Well, I've been happy with the defense so far. I think everyone has to be. The front seven are good, and there's depth there, and they're improving. But the secondary, it's just been okay so far. And yeah, there have been injuries back there, but getting Rod Moore back, hopefully Zeke Berry very soon, that is going to improve that back-end play, we hope, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it didn't. Those are two of the most veteran players that they've got back there. It was always going to be, they lost a lot of experience from last year, and it's not just Will Johnson. It's Quentin Johnson. It's a Makari Page. It's Amir Hall. It's a lot of guys. It's Wesley Walker. Some of these guys were only around for a year or two, some much longer, but these were all super experienced college football players. Now you got Elijah Dotson, you got Jaden Sanders, even Brandon Hillman, who is a good player, obviously the penalty aside. Last year was the first year he was getting real reps, so he's still kind of younger in terms of his on-field experience at this level. So there's going to be a learning curve with him, and then when you got Rod, who hadn't come back, and he's played 20 snaps all season. Zeke's been down. Jair Hill got dinged up at the end of the Nebraska game. They've known it was going to be an all hands on deck situation for that secondary, and I think they've done all right. Many schools and programs would take it. It just hasn't been up to the standard that Michigan is quite used to in that back end. But the end of last year looked a whole lot different than the beginning of last year, and they are only 4 games in, and it feels like there is room for this unit to markedly improve.
Well, I don't know if Wink mentioned it at the presser that you were at just earlier today, but Rod Moore, he was, as you mentioned, I think 24 snaps, something like that, against Nebraska, and he's expected to see more action this week. Is he still on a snap count, though?
Yeah, Wink didn't say it specifically. We did meet with Rod earlier in the week, and the implication was yes. He's not just going to be back to 60 snaps a game like he's used to. I would imagine maybe 5 to 10 snaps more every game. So maybe you could see somewhere in that 30-35 range, then that 40 range, and by November he could be back darn near full go. But I would not expect him to play more than 35 snaps this next week, perhaps against a USC team that really likes to air things out. That's where maybe he could take even that next step, but they're still going to be cautious with him. They don't want any setbacks for Rod. And so it's why he didn't, if it was a national championship that was played on September 7th, he probably would have been on the field, right? But he just had to take his time and make sure he was feeling better. And so they've been very diligent about his return to the field.
Well, there's a lot to work on during the bye. A couple of areas of concern that were, I think, glaring, though. First is the punting. Hudson Hollenbeck has been very inconsistent. I'm not sure what you can do there, as he seems to be the best that Michigan has, but it hasn't bitten Michigan in the butt yet. But it's been wildly inconsistent, hasn't it?
It has. It was kind of that way last year, too, with Tommy Doman. And if anything, if it wasn't inconsistent, it's because it was consistently subpar. I would say Hudson has been as good as Tommy was a year ago. He's got some 50s. He's got some pinned inside the 20. Now the games are all running together. I remember one where he pinned someone around the 6-yard line. That might have been at Nebraska. If it wasn't, it was Central. So there have been flashes. There's just not a ton of competition. Michigan brought in, or thought they were bringing in, Luke Bauer from Missouri in the offseason. And then he retired. He went into sort of the business world. I spoke with him a couple months ago. I wonder if that's maybe because it was clear Hudson was going to win the job. And he's like, well, I'm not moving my whole life to be a backup punter, which is just wasn't in the cards for a senior who had already started and played in the SEC. So, with that, there's just not a ton of competition at the position. So I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan made that sort of a priority this offseason, because so often the hidden yardage in the Harbaugh era was in the special teams. And it's not just punting. I mean, the return game has been very lackluster, to say the least. A couple balls on the deck, not a single explosive play that I can remember from either the kick or the punt return. It's left quite a bit to be desired, the entire special teams unit, unless your name is, of course, Dominic Zavada.
And, I love Samaj Morgan. That was my other point about areas of concern. But, I mean, he can take it all the way for you, or he can just drop it on the ground, or he can just let it go by. Either way, he's been very scary back there. So you've got to think during the bye week, there was some emphasis on that and maybe trying someone else.
I mean, and it's just which way you want to go, right? Do you want to go to someone who's Joe Taylor, like an alternate captain and a captain of the special teams unit, who's going to remind of sort of like a Jake Thaw, like someone that you can rely on? You're not going to get the big play, but you're going to have that safe feeling when he's back there. Or are you going to give Andrew Marsh? Is that going to be a chance where he can impact the game?
Yeah.
And use his sort of explosiveness in order to change things. So there's a number of ways that they could go with that. But of course, I mean, since Samaj returned it 89 yards or whatever in that Big Ten championship game as a true freshman, it's felt like it's been his job to lose, and that's the way things have gone thus far.
Well, this Saturday, Wisconsin, as we know, pays a visit to the Big House. The Badgers are struggling for a lot of reasons, and right now the fan base is not happy with what they see from Luke Fickell's team. I could not believe. I don't know if I've ever seen or heard that much booing at Camp Randall Stadium as there was during the Maryland game, and then everyone just left. Everyone's not happy in Madison, are they?
No, it's been, and it's kind of hard to blame them. It's year 3, I believe, and you're sort of expecting a turnaround at some point, but there's just been, might be 4 now. I might be losing track, but there just hasn't been anything to hang their hat on. I mean, of course, it doesn't help that Billy Edwards Jr., the Maryland transfer quarterback, got hurt. And so they've had to rely on their backup for some time. But it just felt, and maybe this is sort of a Monday armchair quarterback type take, but as soon as you heard that Wisconsin was going from the usual ground and pound, bruise 'em, classic Wisconsin we've all known for 30 years, to an air raid attack, it was just like, what is going on? Like, that doesn't seem like a fit, because I mean, you're going to have to turn over your entire roster because everybody's recruited to do one thing. It's probably not going to fit them to do something entirely differently. And then, I mean, their only wins this year are against Miami, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee State. They got hammered by Alabama, which I suppose there's no shame in that. But losing by 17 at home to Maryland, there is some shame in that, certainly. They come in, they'll have the number 1 ranked rush defense. Steve Kasula was very complimentary of what he saw on tape from their rush defense. But Michigan, I mean, I remember a few years ago in 23 when Nebraska had the number 1 run D in the nation, then Michigan ran for like 285 on them or something. And so, I mean, Michigan has played teams statistically that look one way, and then when it comes down to meeting on the field, it ends up looking like another. So it's really hard to see a path for Wisconsin, not just to win this, but to keep it really all that close.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it really is an effective first-year offense for Wisconsin, too, because bringing in Grimes as the new OC, and of all things, as you said, I have no idea why Luke Fickell, an Ohio State guy, Cincinnati coach who had a pounding running game down in Cincinnati, switches to the air raid of all things in Madison. So a new offense, 3 redshirt freshman offensive linemen. I watched Luke Fickell's press conference, I think it was Monday, and he said, we haven't played really a running team yet. Even Alabama is not running the ball well. They didn't run it well against Wisconsin, so this is a huge challenge for that defense that on paper, as he pointed out, is the number 1 rush defense in the country. But even he said, we haven't seen anything like this.
Yeah, oftentimes, I mean, when you're still within a 1-month sample size, so much of it is predicated on matchup. And that's why, and the style of team you're playing, as to why, like, you could play through 2 weeks, you could play military academy and then have the number 1 ranked pass D. That doesn't mean that you are the best pass defense in the nation. It means you played Navy, right? And so there's certainly a bit of that. And then on the flip side, I mean, Wisconsin just has not been able to possess the ball at all. I mean, I think they have 150 rushes for 471 yards as a team. averaging 3.1 a carry. Justice Haynes has more rushing yards than Wisconsin as a group on about 40% of the touches and more touchdowns. It's just, there has been so little that's gone right for Wisconsin this year. It's truly shocking.
Yeah, and very little's gone right in the first half for them because they've been outscored 51-17. So you've got to think if they get behind early, turn out the lights, the party's over. But, I mean, that's why you tee it up and play the game, so we'll see. Final question before we let you get away, though, Tony. So if Michigan plays a clean game, shows improvement on Saturday, this should be a W. But next week, man, that's another story. It's now a 2-time zone game, Saturday night in USC, and it will tell us a lot about whether this team is a Big Ten contender or just not yet, Tony.
It will. I mean, Michigan's schedule this year was pretty favorable, to say the least, right? No Penn State, no Oregon, not even in Illinois or in Indiana, which you could argue are 4 of the top 5 teams in this conference. And if there's a 6th, not named Michigan, of course, and if there is a 6th, it would probably be USC in that upper echelon. So it's going to be a big test. There's no doubt about it. USC really has a prolific offense. I'm not super moved by what I've seen from them on defense. I mean, they gave up 34 to Illinois. They gave up, I don't remember, maybe 31, was it, to Michigan State?
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan State's offense is in light years better than its defense, but still, I don't know that it's an amazing offense. It's quite good, but just that's a lot of points to be given up consistently. And so they're going to have to just get into shootouts with people. And then if you're trying to outshoot, if you're trying to get into a shootout against Michigan's defense, good luck. They're not giving up a ton of points to anyone. Even the 27 they gave up to Nebraska, you got a Hail Mary, you got a semi-garbage time touchdown with 2 minutes left, and then you got a field goal that came because of a self-inflicted penalty that extended a drive, right? So, it felt like there were 10 quality points that Nebraska scored and 17 sort of junk points. It's just, I think Michigan's got a chance. Preseason, I picked USC in that game. I'm not sure if I'm moving off of that. At home, I would pick Michigan. It's a tough task on the road to go that far, but Michigan got a little bit of its road juice back with a win against Nebraska. So we shall see.
Well, it's going to be an interesting October, and it starts Saturday at home against Wisconsin. With us today has been beat writer Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press. Tony, always a pleasure having you on the show. We thank you for taking time in what's been a busy day for you, being at the midweek presser. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to another visit soon.
Anytime. Talk to you soon.
On Quick Hits today, thanks again to Michigan beat writer Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press for being our guest today. No news or updates on injuries since Sharon's Monday presser. Hopefully we start getting some more players back in action starting Saturday. Here are a few game day notes of interest. Michigan leads the series with Wisconsin by a wide margin, 52 wins against 17 losses, and there's been one tie. The first meeting was in Madison on October 15th of 1892, a 10-6 Michigan win. The last meeting was also at Camp Randall on October 2nd of 2021, a 38-17 Michigan win. Luke Fickell is in his third year as head man. He is 15-15 heading into Saturday. His overall record in 10 years as a head coach is 78-40. Last year, the Badgers were 5-7 overall, 3-6 in Big Ten play. Their last bowl appearance was in the 2023 ReliaQuest Bowl, a 35-31 loss against LSU. The weatherman says it's going to be a very sunny and warm homecoming day. Temps in the low 80s with not much chance of rain. Perfect October weather. Fox Big Noon Kickoff is in town for the game, so it's another big stage for this young Michigan team. Kickoff is scheduled for just around 12:10 p.m. It's been an adventure so far, and we knew it would be with a freshman quarterback and a retooled offense. The question this week is, will Michigan make positive strides coming off the bye? Wisconsin is struggling, but we are a work in progress too. It will be an interesting afternoon of football. Next week we hit the road, a long road, to sunny California to play USC at night. These two time zone games have not been friendly to the visiting teams for the last 2 years, so it will be a huge test for Michigan. With us on our Tuesday Visitors Edition will be the longtime radio play-by-play voice of the Trojans, Pete Arbogast. Then on Thursday's Michigan Game Day show, we'll be joined by Anthony Broom from the Wolverine on 3. Please tell your family and friends about the show, follow us on X, and leave your thoughts or reviews wherever you get your podcasts. That does it for now. Have a great Wolverine weekend, everyone. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Think victory, beat Wisconsin. Until we meet again, take care, and as always, go blue.
Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!